I've been going through my yarn stash and I found this yarn that I quite forgotten about. It is Brilliant by Patons. This yarn is 69% acrylic, 19% nylon and 12% polyester, and it's a category 3 yarn, and the color is called Blue Shimmer. It's quite beautiful. I purchased this yarn last year from a thrift store, which was quite inexpensive, about 50 cents per skein, and I have 4 of them here. So I think I'll be making myself a luxurious summer scarf. The recommended hook size for this yarn is F, 3.75 millimeters. However, I will be working with a hook size H, 5 millimeters, because I want to achieve a lacy, airy texture. I will be using a very simple shells stitch, nothing fancy. There is only one repeating row, and I'm sure you've seen this stitch before. And I think it's gonna work quite well with my yarn. The multiple for this stitch is 7 plus 4, and I will start with 60 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here I have 60 chains and I'm ready to start working on my scarf. Into the first chain from the hook, I will work a shell. We never count the chain on the hook, we always start counting from the next chain. 1, 2, 3, 4. So into this chain I work 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, then 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and into the same chain where I already worked 3 double crochets, I will work 4 more double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is my first shell. Next I'm going to skip 6 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and into the next chain again I work a shell. So first I make 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, then 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and into the same chain 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here I have these beautiful shells. Now again, I will skip 6 chains and work a shell into the next chain. I need to be very careful here because after I work this shell into this chain stretches and becomes big, but the next one becomes quite small and difficult to see. So I need to make sure that I'm skipping 6 chains and not 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and into the next one over here I will work a shell again, and I will continue crocheting this way all the way across. So over here I finished with a shell into the last chain on the starting chain. Now if I continue crocheting in rows, the last row of my scarf is going to be pointy like this, but the first one is going to have a very straight edge like this. So before I continue working in rows, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to work a row of shells on the other side of my starting chain. So I turn like this, and over here, this chain where the last shell was worked, I'm going to work another shell. So I start with 4 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, then 3 chains, and into the same space again 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So here is what I have. Next, I'm going to work a shell over here where the second shell was worked. So I work 4 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, then 3 chains and 4 more double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's how I'm going to continue all the way across to the end of this row. So here I crocheted all the way across, and over here the last 2 shells I'm actually going to join them with a slip stitch. So over here I have the starting 3 chains, so I'm going to make a slip stitch into the top chain. Alright, so this is the beginning of my scarf. So next, this is where I started. I'm going to slip stitch all the way to the chain 3 space. So I make 1, 2, 3, 4 slip stitches. And now from this point I will continue crocheting in rows. So I start my next row with 3 chains, 1, 2, 3. These 3 chains will count as my first double crochet, and into the same chain space I work 3 more double crochets. So that's 2, 3. Next 3 chains, and into the same space 4 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4. And here is my shell. And now I will work a shell into the next shell, or into this chain 3 space. So first 4 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, then 3 chains and 4 more double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's how I'm going to continue crocheting, making a shell into each shell all the way across. Here I made it to the end of the row. Now I turn and I will continue crocheting in the row. To start the next row, I'm going to slip stitch all the way to the chain 3 space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slip stitches. First I start with 3 chains. These 3 chains count as my first double crochet, and I make 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, then 3 chains and 4 double crochets into the same space, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a shell into the next shell. And that's it. I'm just going to continue crocheting in the row, making shells, shell after shell. And here is the progress on my scarf. It looks so pretty. I really like it.